Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, and everybody in between. It is 8:30, and it's Thursday.
And that means it should be about something. My name's Michael Smolik.
I'm Jim Libby.
And today, we are going to bring meaning to the second most useless day in the week. The Thursday. The first most useless day being the Tuesday. So, the day you can kind of almost do without.
How are y'all? We hope you're doing well. We already saw in the chat, my goodness, Andrew's here, Philly girl, Pavlov's dog in the house.
This is chapter the 41st.
This is episode 41.
So a week older, a week wiser, definitely a week older. I'm not so sure about the week wiser. Yeah. How's your week been, chat?
Yeah, throw that in the chat.
Yeah.
What is something, since we last saw one another, that you really liked? That was fun. What was good?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with what was good.
Let's go with what was good.
Let's not get into the road rage and the partner rage. And
what was your good thing this past week, Michael?
Well, this past week, my good thing was today, actually. Mm-hmm. I spent the whole day out in Ebreisdorf in the house of my good friend Walter Till, who has a studio.
Cool.
And
a music studio.
Recording studio.
A recording studio, yeah.
And I've been recording some songs.
Awesome.
Yes.
And under what name are we going to keep an eye out?
Well, this is my ongoing project Behind the Firehouse. And I've recorded 3 songs. And so I recorded 2 songs 2 weeks ago and a song this week.
That's awesome.
And I've been doing vocals and we kind of messed around with like percussion and crazy stuff today. It was like shakers and little interesting bits to go on the end of the song and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
I love it. I just want you to know that I am available for booking, backup singing.
Backup singing, yeah.
See, I can shake a maraca.
I'm putting the emphasis on the singing. You see,
I can shake my maracas. That's super cool.
So it was a fun day, actually.
That's very, very cool. I had a really fun thing this week too. On Sunday, I did a reading online with a bunch of super talented people of the play The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night.
I have never heard of it, but it reminds me of something.
It's based on a book, and the play has been done to great acclaim recently. The stage set that they did in the National was basically all projection. Mm-hmm. And it's the story of an autistic teenager who goes on an adventure, and it does a really good job of showing, of kind of exploring the headspace that someone like that is in. So when they finally get into the middle of London and they're on the tube and there's just boom, 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 stuff happening, and it's quite arresting. And the play itself, we just did a reading of it, none of this bells and whistles and stuff. It was quite poetic, really beautiful, sometimes funny, tragic at parts.
Cool.
But
was there was a live reading and there's no one cannot go and listen to it anymore?
That's right. It's just a live.
That's a shame.
Reading. Yeah. Well, you had to be there.
I like this. Andrew bought another truck.
Excellent.
Yeah, Andrew.
At an auction? Was it like one of those ones where they was like, hey, okay, we got a truck, it's a 2015.
I went to a car auction with my uncle once, and it was a lot of fun. It was like a man's evening out.
Yeah.
And at the end, he bought like a huge sedan. It was really cool.
Almost all of the cars I was ever involved with when I was younger had been bought at an auction because my mom's uncle had a cab company in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And he would always go to auctions to get cars. And so inevitably, I had this great car. It was a Volare, a Plymouth Volare. It was an ex-cop car.
Right.
Posi traction, 365 cubic inches of power.
But like 25 liters to the 100.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so boxy. But it went.
Isn't that
flew.
what? But Andrew's selling one of those as well, like a posi traction police car. I saw it on his Facebook page.
I would imagine he would be.
Okay, so
Marcus in the
another
house.
truck.
Moko in the house.
Pavlov, 4 days of Monday. My God, it was so bad there wasn't even a Tuesday in your week yet.
Well, Pavlov's dog has sent 16 to 17 job applications. Man, that is
fucking hell.
good work. It's not easy. It is a huge, it's a job getting a job.
Slurpy slurps to that.
Slurpy
I'm,
slurps.
I'm way overdue for the slurpy slurps.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Slurpy slurps.
Slurpy slurps.
Slurp slurp.
So, I was talking to a follower of Clay about Isbaz, and he suggested that a number of Isbaz are Isbazi, spelt with two I's at the end. So one Isbaz, two Isbazi. Mm-hmm. And we agreed that if there's the collective noun for Isbazes is a slurpy slurp of Isbazes, as Isbazis. A slurpy slurp of Isbazis. I was going to suggest Isbazettes.
You don't like Isbazes? Just Isbazes.
Isbazes. I think
Isbazes.
It's too simple.
Isbazes.
It's Isbazes.
Isbazes.
And you do jazz hands with it. Just a little bit super about it.
And all that.
Isbazes.
Isbazes.
An online auction. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Marcus was saying met half the year's sales goal and it's April. So
Holy cow! Congratulations, buddy. That's
good.
amazing.
You should be kicking back, mate. You should be taking a holiday right now.
Pretty soon, Marcus is going to give us all jobs.
It's a 1-ton diesel, quarter-mile plans. Okay. Yep. Oh, he had a Crown Vic. Yeah. No, what did you say? You had a
Mine
Crown
was
Vic?
a Plymouth Volare.
Volare.
Volare. Whoa.
Stop drinking now.
That was the car that I turned into a submarine.
Oh yes, I remember that. Well, I remember you told me about that. I always think of you putting that VW Beetle in the drink, but I think we've spoken about this being the Volare before.
Yeah, it was the Volare. It was great because it had that back seat that was just a bench, and it was all covered in vinyl. Even the floor, there was no carpet, so that you could just hose it down afterwards.
Police car.
Yeah. Which I did a number of times.
Yeah, but it's good. If you're driving home drunk, you can just puke there. You don't even have to open the window in the winter. So, yes.
Isbazette. Verena in the house. Everybody wave to Verena.
Isbazettes. Yeah, I like Isbazettes.
Verena, wave to the screen.
So, today, I'm drinking vodka and Sprite. And we need to talk about this.
Why is that?
Well, because I was late getting into town, so I couldn't go to the supermarket and buy ginger ale, so I had to buy this.
Right.
Coca-Cola Company product. Not a big fan of the Coca-Cola Company in general, but, I was thinking, what the hell? I got to have something sweet to go with my vodka, and I didn't want it to be Apfelsaftschorle.
Right.
So I got this. And then as I'm walking to the cashier, I noticed this little yellow bit on here. And the little yellow bit says, low calorie. And I was like, stopped me in my tracks. And then I read the back and it says, sugar and sweeter. So, Coca-Cola Company. I know you can swing both ways, but swinging both ways at the same time is bullshit. Like either you have sweetener in the fucking thing or you have sugar in it. But putting both of them in is just like, what the fuck, Coca-Cola Company? And you and I have not been the best of friends in the past years, and it's not going to get better. This is war.
Michael.
I am now officially fucking boycotting you, Coca-Cola Company. Every airline I fly on, every restaurant I rest with, where I have up to now not consumed Coca-Cola Company products, I will continue to not consume Coca-Cola Company products, but I will do so with an attitude. Coca-Cola Company. So, there you have it.
I wish we had an Uncle Mike's rant.
Yeah, I wish we had.
It's like a stamp.
Yeah.
Like whenever you go on, it goes, Uncle Mike's rant. Muchacho in the house. How you doing? Okay. So I think that's pretty covered.
But maybe there's something going on here.
Yeah.
Right? So female Isbazes are Isbazettes, and male Isbazes are Isbazars. Or Isbazars.
I think an Isbazer
Is berserker.
And is berserker.
Is berserker and is besetz.
I think you can choose what you are.
You want.
I don't think it should be gender
I think
attached.
we should be gender ID positive. You know, you can just choose your own one.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Slurpy slurps.
Slurpy slurps.
That's why I drink wine.
Yes. And Andrew said, need a stream deck for those effects. Dude, that is, I suggested this to Michael like a couple of weeks ago.
So we're actually considering getting a stream deck. I think we need to save up a little bit more, but it's on our wish list.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, It Should Be About Something comes to you in 3 parts. And our first chapter is going to come up right now.
That's a nice topic.
On what you would do if you won the lottery.
The dream.
The dream.
Is bazaars, is berserkers, and is bezetz. What would you do if you won the lottery?
Is bozos.
Put it in the chat. Like, what's the best thing you think you could do if you won the lottery? And we're not talking like $1 million. We're talking like $50 million. Okay, so like really.
Like if you totally won the lottery, what would you do if you won the lottery?
The Grand Slam.
First thing I want to mention is there's a great song by Camper Van Beethoven called When I Win the Lottery.
Oh, those Trailer Park Boys.
I love that song. It's a good tune. They were a great band. Okay.
Was that song a single or was it a deep album drag?
When I Win the Lottery, I can't even remember which album that was on. Maybe it was Telephone Landslide Victory or...
I don't think there were any singles on that.
No. It was on
Telephone Landslide Victory.
No. Like it was on that other album, the big album where the woman who played violin for Jane's Addiction.
That was the title of the album. That definitely had no singles.
Telephone Landslide Victory.
The other one, the big one, was the picture of the woman. That's
not the picture.
She was your album. That the album with the picture of the woman who used to play with Jane's Addiction.
I like Pavlov's dog is boozers.
So you too is boozers.
Is boozers. Okay, so Michael.
I want to ask you first.
Yes.
You should tell me first.
Okay. All right.
If you won the lottery, what would you do with the money?
Okay. I have looked at this before.
Really?
Yes. So first thing I would do is get a lawyer. The second thing I would do is take the money in a lump sum. None of this over 20 years bullshit.
Yeah.
The third thing I would do is figure out the allocation of the money, right? Like putting away 20% of it for family and friends, paying the taxes, getting whatever's left over to do the thing. Mm-hmm. Protect it. Do the thing that people never do when they win the lottery. Set it up so that it works for me then. Mm-hmm. And then do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I totally would do.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you on that. It's like, because, we hear about these people who win the lottery and then a year later they're broke. Yeah. Or 10 years later they're completely broke because they kind of gave it away in little bits to their friends and family and they never really invested it and then they ended up spending it on stuff and then just buying willy-nilly, even buying stocks and shares and stuff willy-nilly and then just losing it all. And possibly even, if you spend $1 million or $10 million, you can make a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can make $10 million worth of debt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super simple.
Okay, but beyond all that nuts and bolts stuff, the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
After, I set it up so that my friends and family don't have to worry about it.
And they don't need to nag you.
It's set up.
So you set it up, which also means don't ever ask me about this again.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like I have to give $20,000 in unmarked bills to somebody. Get it done. Yeah. I mean, although I would totally do that, but no, I would get it set up, and then the thing that I would most love to do is things like buy you a boat, so that we could go sailing whenever we wanted to.
Right.
Get Andrew a helicopter.
Right.
So that
Are you gonna have to get Pavlov's dog a gravel bike?
I would get Pavlov's dog a gravel bike. No, but I mean
Yeah.
like get the things for the people that I know that they love that thing and that it's something that I could really enjoy with them.
You would benefit from it. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So I want to be able to empower people and mostly to be able to set up fun times. I don't care about stuff. I mean, it would be great to have a beautiful apartment. It would be wonderful to have, nice clothes and stuff like that. But I've got a pretty wonderful apartment. I've got some nice clothes. What I don't have is the freedom to get my buddy who's a great sea captain a boat so that we can spend 14 days in the Mediterranean.
Have you ever taken the Uncle Mike's sanity test before?
Tell me, Michael, what is the Uncle Mike's sanity test?
Uncle Mike's test for sanity is, I don't remember what question 1 is at this point. I have to think about it. Question 2 is, have you bought a boat?
Right.
If you answer no, you're sane. No need to go on to question number 3. If you answer yes, question number 3 is, have you become a fisherman or somebody else who works with a boat? If the answer to this is no, you're no longer sane.
You're no longer
right?
sane. Yeah. You don't want to own the boat. You
don't want to own
You
the
want to
boat.
be friends with the guy who owns the boat.
Exactly.
That's why I get the boat and I give it to the motherfucker.
You make the lottery and I end up in debt.
Yeah.
Because I have to keep the fucking boat afloat.
But we're going to have great days on the Mediterranean.
Yeah. We'd never buy a boat.
You know,
We'd always rent the boat.
We always
rent the boat from the nicest places with the best boats.
Right.
But never buy the fucker.
That's right.
It's like buying a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
Buying a hole in the sea is even worse than a hole in the ground. Yeah, but I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. So you'd use the money to kind of bring your peeps together.
Yeah.
Make good times.
Yeah. I want to, I want to give a bunch of money to somebody to make their movie, or I want to, so I can be in it. No, whatever that thing is.
You could buy your way into a high-class Hollywood movie.
Yeah, man.
You could do that. Like if you had $56 million, you could go to anybody and say, okay, I'm putting $10 million into your movie. I want to be in it.
Yeah. Easy. Let's do that.
You could be in a ton of movies.
For me, it's about finding ways to be able to spend quality time doing fun things. That's the thing. Then once you have all of the money where it doesn't matter anymore. Because that's the other thing. If I won the lottery, I would love to get rid of my fear of zeros. Like I have met people in my life who don't have that as part of their genetic makeup. They don't care how many
what's
zeros.
The fear of zeros?
Well, the fear of zeros, what I mean is like there are people who, if it's $100 or $1,000, that added zero doesn't scare them.
Oh, I see. Right. Yes.
The zeros at the end of the number don't matter to them.
Yeah.
And I am certainly not that way.
Yeah.
When you grow up turning over every penny, then I have a fear of the zero because there are some people, and to have that taken away, that fear, by having all this huge resource.
You're going to need a lawyer because if you take that fear away, if you don't have a lawyer and a real good plan, that's how you end up being broke.
That's my number one thing is get a lawyer.
That's why you end up being broke after 1 year.
Yeah, sure.
So would you continue to work? Because Pavlov was saying, quit job immediately and finance life somehow, investing in stock and property.
Yeah.
So you'd never work again?
Would I never work again? No. Fuck it. No, I wouldn't work. I mean, I don't work now. I have for years not thought of my life as working. There are times where I have responsibilities and I have to be somewhere, but I'm very lucky in that I think of my life as one very long vacation that is every once in a while bejeweled with a responsibility. But otherwise, even when I'm working, it's fun.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like most of the stuff that I do is fun, and I think I would continue to do it.
Yes.
There's a couple of things that I would no longer do.
Certainly not.
But most of the things that I do right now, I think I'd like to continue. In fact, having all that money would enable me to do them at a much quicker rate.
Absolutely.
Like if I wanted to do a production, I would have to fucking faff around for weeks figuring out how it works. Just get people in to help, I wouldn't have to figure out all this stuff on my own. Like if I wanted to do a podcast, I'd spend 100 grand on advertising the fucker on YouTube, and I'd get real professionals in to run the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'd hire the nicest studio with a view. We wouldn't be here in the fucking cellar, right? It'd always be well temperatured, right? We could do the thing in flip-flops in winter. Yeah. So basically, that's kind of where I'd like to go.
Yeah.
I'd love to have my own studio and like my own workspace.
Sure.
Right. I think I would probably have to move to Italy.
All right.
I think I'd have to move to Italy big time.
You'd have to move to Italy big time. I think that's a great question, and maybe that's another chapter for another show. But if you could choose anywhere in the world, where would you live and why?
Well, Greece or Italy.
Yeah.
One of the two.
What are your criteria?
I'm not saying I'd live there exclusively. I mean, Andrew was saying, and I think this is a very nice thing as well, is buying property in all the places you like to frequent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Or just knowing exactly where you want to go, and having the people there with the spaces where you can just call up and say, I'm coming next week, or I'm coming this weekend. I'd like a space.
The
and they
dream.
sort you out with something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Verena would produce a film. Yeah, you can produce a film, and Jim will star in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we can do it like the Republicans do and just buy all of the copies right away, you know, or
So
or
you
for
could-
Oscar nominations.
So you end up the number one selling film that nobody saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Florence Foster Jenkins?
Yeah. Yeah.
What, Florence Foster Jenkins?
I think Tom Cruise has done this a couple of times.
Really?
Yeah, where they'll buy out the entire first weekend.
Really?
So that it's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking short ass. Muchado's bucket list. Yeah, but you know, you could do that bucket list in style.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, for me, again, and it seems to be the theme, is it just would give you that freedom to do it. Marcus was saying the same thing. He'd sail around the world rather than helicoptering around the world like Marcus.
Yeah, and I think Andrew's, like, this is basically your idea. Set up a trust and then live off the winnings.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So sometimes you might have to kind of just take your things down a bit, keep them on the back burner if your trust isn't doing that well. But you know, it's gonna bounce back in a year or two, and then you've got that cash again, right?
There's a couple of things I would really like to do. I'd like to go glamping, like serious, full-on.
What's glamping?
Glamour camping. It's like going to Kenya and having a team set up everything to make it look like, you know, the better version of Out of Africa. And then you show up and it's like lamps in it's like Harry Potter kind of a thing, you know? I would love that.
Would you, so talking about going to the third world and setting up almost colonial dwellings, but let's look at the flip side of that. Would you do anything, humanitarian with your money?
Absolutely.
What would you do?
What would I do humanitarianly?
Yeah, because I like this, like buy everybody solar panels. I think that's it. Hey, £7.1. You're here for the first time.
Hello, £7.1.
Hello, £7.1.
Welcome.
Yes, I like that. So this is £7.1 actually brought up this idea of what would you do that's kind of humanitarian, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I'd like to set up something for small loans.
There's a lot of that. There's a whole lot of that. Microloans and stuff like that. There's a lot of people
Like
doing
helping
things like
people
that.
empower themselves.
Yeah.
Get their own
But
businesses
to do
going.
like a one-time thing, that would also be amazing, you know, to like really hit everybody. Like when you see those in wherever in the nets, it's like, whoa, the budget of the military would, pay for this, and this. And then, if you just, fuck it, I'm going to do this one thing.
Yeah. So what's the one thing you would do?
Okay.
Like something that's achievable with, say, €1 million, with €1 million.
Oh well, you can't do anything with €1 million.
Okay, with 10 million.
We're talking like hundreds of millions, right?
Okay,
we're talking
but
the big thing.
that would be like the end game after your trust has kind of expanded and stuff.
Oh,
right.
See, when I won the lottery,
When you won the lottery, you won 1,000 million.
I won a whole lot. I won a lot more than you did, apparently.
So I think I like the solar panel things, but I
Yeah.
think that's very expensive. I think
Yeah.
that you might not win that much.
I don't
in the
know,
lottery.
but go to a state and buy everybody's student debt.
That's a great idea.
You know,
Yes.
or you know, like go to Vienna and you know get everybody an U-Bahn pass.
Here's
for
what I want to do.
whatever.
I want to get everybody a wind-up charger that has all the plugs, so you never need another charger in your life.
Right. Yeah.
And it works without a socket, so you can take it anywhere. You just wind that fucker up, and you're.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I can buy a million of those.
To do just
give them
one
away.
thing, that would be great. Or like, I don't know, buy the patent of insulin and just
give it away.
give it away or something. I know there's
Yeah.
other problems about that, but
Wow.
that kind
I think
of a
we're
thing.
looking at trillions of dollars in the lottery. You're winning big now.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of brings us, once you start to think about it that way, then you think about, I don't know, it makes me think about very, very rich people and philanthropy and how...
Do you think this is how...
It's actually the wrong way around, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
even with the 375 million that I won in my lottery,
Yeah.
even with that, the onus shouldn't be on us. It's got to be on the system.
Sure.
right?
So maybe you want to support initiatives that make that system possible.
Yeah, or just to get into the 1800s British safari. That's right, but it doesn't have to be in Kenya. Although Kenya, I think, would be amazingly beautiful. I would take that glamping trip everywhere
Why without the hunting, Andrew?
because I don't want to hunt.
You don't want to hunt.
No,
But you want to eat.
Yeah, and I want it served.
You
I
do want to eat.
Yeah. There's going to be a tent that
But you're going to eat crocodile and impala and stuff.
I don't know. That's not part of the glamping.
You don't want to eat
aspect.
crocodile and impala?
I mean,
you can't go to Africa and not eat crocodile impala.
If somebody's putting it in front of me, yes, I'll eat it.
Okay.
Of course I'll eat it.
But somebody else has to shoot it. You don't want to shoot it yourself.
And prepare it and serve it.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay.
some people consider the shooting part of the fun, but
That's not my thing.
it's all
I
right.
don't care about that.
Cool. Hire every actor I know who I don't think have the career they deserve.
Nice.
Yes.
Again.
It's your money, it's your movie, you get to do whatever the fuck you please. In fact, I'd take it one step further and call up the actors who have the career I don't think they deserve and say, you're not going to be in my film.
No, who have careers that you don't
Yeah,
think...
that have careers that I
see.
don't think they should have. Just calling to say.
Well, £7 one. That's really cool. Thanks for saying hi. That's terrific.
good.
There's plenty of lurkers out there.
You
and-
weren't in on the chat the first time, eh?
Yeah, nice
nice.
to hear from you. And to any of the other lurkers, you continue. That's great. We're so glad you're there. It's also nice when we get to hear from you and that you are here. So even if you just want to wave, you can do that.
So it's is boozers, is bazers, is bazettes, is bazee, and if you're not in the chat, you're a lurker.
Yeah, that's not an original term. Maybe we can have a special Isbaz lurker.
Is special Isbaz lurker term?
Yeah, the unseen.
Yeah, unseen and unspoken.
The unseen, the unheard. Yeah.
The under, yeah. Okay, something. Maybe the chat will come up with something better than that. The unseen.
They can only come up with something better than
Yeah,
that.
that's why they're here. So the 1800s British safari without the hunting.
Before we go away, though, I want to know, what is something it's just redonkulous that you would get? You know, like I think it would be amazing to buy a tour bus, a decked out tour bus with all the shit, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything that's like on your list you were like,
No.
just one,
Well,
like a thing?
okay,
Like
redonkulous.
a thing?
I guess there might be some.
Like a Les Paul #2, or, you know, like a...
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'd get a tour bus because it falls in the same category as sailing boats.
Yeah.
And it probably falls in the same category as helicopters or...
I'm just
you know.
trying to open up the FAO Schwartz
Yeah.
of
I know.
life.
I think
what
would
would be the redonkulous thing?
The absolutely redonkulous thing that I would get would be a World War II warbird. I'd like to own like a P-47 Thunderbolt.
I see.
Or an F-4F or an F-4U, the one with the gull wings.
Could we then hang it up like a model in the dining room
Of my house.
of the house?
Yes, yes. And when I want to fly it, I let it down and roll it out onto the patio, which is big enough to use as a runway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great.
Because that's like a Okay, so the other redonk, if I did ever own a boat, it would have to be a J yacht. That's those wooden hulled ones that
Right.
they used for the America's Cup, like in the 20s, when
Right.
sailing was a rich man's hobby.
Sailing was real.
With wooden hulls and stuff.
Wooden
like
hulls.
so
Blood.
So it's
Salt.
it's like it's almost like a museum piece. So
Yeah.
So it's different than just spending money on a boat, because it's
More about
about
the preservation of this
preservation
wonderful
of
thing.
that
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, sure,
right?
sure. Vika van Oort.
Hey Vika! Wow!
Hello. Thanks for waving.
It's my cousin from
What?
Holland. Yeah.
Nice. And you would never have known.
No.
So cool. Thank you for saying hi.
She's waving. She's in the chat. Excellent.
And of course, Verena's waving too.
Yeah, and hi you two, obviously. You're just a slurper. So if you're watching the show but you're not on the chat, you're a slurper.
Not a lurker, a slurper. Fucking brilliant. All right, slurpers. Thanks for saying hi.
Okay, good. Excellent. This is going very well. Shall we move on to chapter 2?
I love that idea. Here comes chapter 2.
Excellent.
On
So-
old family recipes. Here's my thing. Okay, chat. What's a favorite old family recipe of yours? And extra points if you put that recipe in the chat so that we all get a chance to try it. Old family recipes.
Yeah. Okay, so the most common old family recipe that I use
Yeah.
regularly is my grandmother's recipe for buttermilk rusks.
Your grandmother's recipe for buttermilk.
Rusks.
What's a rusk?
A rusk is a kind of biscuit, like it's a kind of hard double-baked biscuit.
A hard double-baked biscuit.
So they're crunchy, and you can dip them very well in tea or coffee without them breaking off.
But it's not a scone.
No, it's not a scone at all.
No.
It's not anything like
Is
a
it?
scone.
Is it it's a hard through
So it's
biscuit?
crunchy.
Is it?
It's
Is it
hard
biscuit
through.
in the English biscuit? So it's cookie.
No, not really a cookie.
Okay.
Not really a cookie. More like a bready kind of thing,
Right, but hard.
but hard. So you take it out of the oven when it's baked.
Mm-hmm.
You break it into small bits or cut it into small bits, and then you dry it at like 50 degrees for 4 to 6 hours until it's completely dried through.
Like biscotti.
Italian biscotti are kind of similar, and if you put vanilla sugar and almonds into the rusks, they taste exactly like biscotti.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's a recipe that I use quite a lot. The interesting thing is that my rusks, no matter what I do, they never taste like my grandmother's rusks.
Nothing ever does.
I do the recipe exactly the way she does it. Right? Then I do my mother's variation. My rusks don't even taste like my mother's, and my mother's don't taste like my grandmother's either, right? It's like,
But maybe that has to do with water. Maybe that has to do with.
yeah, it has. It's crazy how much the flour that you get in a particular country changes the taste of how something actually tastes.
Yeah, totally.
It's incredible,
Totally.
and I'm sure the water makes a difference as well.
Now,
And stuff.
how did you get this recipe? How did you come in contact with this recipe?
Well, rusks are a big thing in my family.
Okay.
So,
Because I mean, right now I'm hearing about 3 generations of rusks. I'm hearing about
Yeah.
grandma's, mom's, and yours.
Yeah.
Does your brother have his own rusk?
I don't think he makes rusks.
All right. All right. We're
don't think
getting
he
into
does.
it. Smulik family traditions. You are of the
so-
matriarchal line.
So when we had tea,
Yeah.
afternoon tea, or breakfast coffee,
Right.
it would be with rusks on a normal day. On a special day or a Sunday, it would be cake, or maybe something else. So a workaday thing to dip in your morning coffee was rusks.
Right. Was having afternoon tea a South African thing? Was it a
It's more of
Kaffee
an
and Kuchen
it's more of an
thing?
English thing.
Was it an
actually.
English thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like half of my South African family has British roots.
Yeah. So it's
Part
from
of it.
that.
Like not it's actually less than. It's more like a quarter. Of
But
my
is
South-
afternoon tea a thing in South Africa? In the same way, like in Austria, afternoon tea, Kaffee and Kuchen is sort of the same thing,
I guess.
which is something that doesn't really exist in America. I mean, you would,
I think in at least in my family in South Africa, it was. I'd say it's more than it is here in Austria.
okay.
Like my grandmother and her sister, my Aunt Eve. So Aunt Eve lived on this big farm, right, and they had lots of help, and they had this huge garden. So afternoon tea at her place
Was a production.
Was 18th century.
Yeah.
What were Kenya thing,
We would have
right?
gotten along
So
well.
we'd go out on the lawn and we'd sit on the lawn furniture,
And
the help would bring
Of course,
in
right.
the tea and the stuff.
I want to bring you back. You got grandma's rusks, mom's
Nelly,
rusks, your rusks.
Nelly, who was we can't talk about old recipes without talking about Nelly. Nelly, who for years was Aunt Eve's cook.
Right.
She was fantastic.
At rusks.
No, she was fantastic at everything.
At everything.
Like duck curry. And those little, very tasty meatballs.
Oh yeah, those ones.
We had those for breakfast. Fuck, they were good.
Breakfast meatballs. Breakfast meatballs. Write it down,
Yeah.
people. So I want to bring you back to the rusks. You've got
Yes.
grandma's rusks, mom's rusks, your rusks. Rusks are a thing in your family. At what do you remember when you said, "Mom, I want to learn how to make rusks. I've got the stuff. I'm going to make the rusks."
Well, as long as I lived at home, she made the rusks.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So when did you get the
it
recipe?
was I moved out and I came here.
Yeah.
And I realized at some point I need this in my life again. So I wrote her and said, send me the recipe.
Nice. Nice. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It's kind of been, there's been years where I've done it regularly, and when I'm kind of in and out and stuff, it's a pain in the ass to do it.
Yeah.
So I don't. But recently, like the past 3 years, we've been having rusks very regularly again in the Smolnik household. Like I'll make enough to last for 2 weeks.
Right. Do you have afternoon tea at the Smolnik household?
Yes, not super regularly though.
Yeah.
I've stopped having coffee in the mornings, which kind of makes me want to
Jonesing
have.
for it at
I'm
the end,
kind
yeah.
of jonesing for it by the afternoon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get something else to go with the coffee. Like there's this little Italian place that has really good Italian. I digress. We're going to talk about favorite pastries at some point. I think we
Okay.
should talk about favorite pastries.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
I could talk about that.
I want to see what these guys are talking about. 3-day beans.
Andrew's got the 3-day beans. And thank you for that recipe.
What was that thing that you guys used to make? The turducken?
Turducken, man. We have made a turducken many a time.
That was super yummy.
Super yummy.
But we never had 3-day beans to go with it. Does 3-day beans mean you have to leave them in the water and in the sauce to steep for 3 days?
Yeah, in the crock pot. Put them in the crock pot, let it go.
It's kind of how I like to make my soup.
Yeah.
You need to boil it
Yeah.
every day and let it stand.
There was a while where I had a phase. I was into making curries, and I would do those over days in the crock pot. Yeah. Okay. So your rusks are here. I want to know about the recipe. What's the thing that you couldn't get? Was there any recipe that you were like, hey, Grandma, I want the recipe for that? And she's like, no.
No.
Okay. Good, that's fine.
No, I don't think there's been anything like that. There's a couple of other recipes that my mom used a lot when I was a kid that she's passed on to me as well. One summer, we took a road trip to Zambia, and we stayed with this family that came from India. And the first night we stayed at their house, they served us like steak and potatoes and something like that.
Nice.
And we were like, what's this? We were expecting to be eating Indian food. And TJ was like, oh, well, I told Bhavna, that's his wife, that she shouldn't cook Indian food for you, right? Because we've got you guys staying here this week. And we were like, no, we want to eat what you guys eat.
Yeah.
So then we stayed with them for a week, and we ate like the most amazing homemade Indian food for a whole week. And she gave us all the recipes when we went home.
So nice.
So we have a collection of Indian recipes for.
I think it's really sweet when people do that, you know, where it's like they're trying to be extra polite and they double polite you. And one of my favorite moments of that was the first time I came to Europe. I was with my buddy Ken. We'd land in Luxembourg, and we had one of those books.
Did you fly in on Luxair?
Standby. Yeah. Yeah,
the cheapest airline on the planet.
It was. Actually, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, we had this book that had 4 different languages in it with phrases and stuff. And so we go in, we got the bags and the stuff, and we're landing. We're in Europe, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed. This is amazing. It's in the morning. We're hungry. They're cobblestones. We find this little old lady, and we're like, pardon? Un petit pain. We're looking for some bread, a bakery. I'm imagining, and we're saying, un petit pain. And she looks at us and goes, et voilà, come. And we start walking with her, and she's walking along, and we've got the things, and we're looking at the beautiful, Luxembourg. It's gorgeous, right?
Yeah, it's like Disneyland.
And it's just gorgeous. And feeling so full of energy. You know, this is the start of a huge adventure. We got the little old lady. We're going to have a bakery. This is great. And we come around the corner, and she stops, and she says, et voilà, pizza out. And she was so proud that she brought the 2 American boys to the thing that they wanted the most, pizza out.
I love it.
And we just had to thank her and then say, well, okay, yeah, au revoir.
And wait for her to walk around the corner so you could go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. We literally did exactly that. Exactly that.
Yeah, I've had a couple of experiences like that. Yeah. You get someone,
so
they're so happy to help you, and
yeah.
And then they take you where they think you want to be, and you're like, okay, this is great, thank you so much, bye, waving, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Amazing.
Okay, so add bacon if you're able. No, you should always add bacon to everything. Gekochter Grießstrudel and angel pie. Baiser cake bottom with whipped cream and raspberries.
That sounds
So we're coming to your
excellent.
place, Verena.
Yes. And
Second recipe, Czech-style Pilsner beer. Yes, because Andrew's
of course,
a brewer.
Andrew makes his own beard.
Beard? Makes his own beard
He
and
doesn't
beer.
make his own beard. I made my own beard.
Yeah, you're getting good at that, making of your own beard.
Yeah. Marcus says...
sticking out in all kind of directions.
Yeah, I know.
Doesn't it itch?
It doesn't itch yet.
How much are you itching for a shave?
I want to do the 2 things. I want to go in once and have them do the thing and shape it, and then I want to go in again and have them shave it off.
Don't you think you're going to have to wait a long time to get enough beard so that there's actually beard there to shape?
I've got plenty of beard, man.
What does your girlfriend think about the beard?
Let's move on to Marcus's...
Okay, good. Let's not stick our fingers in the...
Not that old, just one generation. But after the war, kitchen combines potatoes, noodles, and sour cream. Cooked peeled potatoes, make roux, and add the cooking water of the potatoes.
Always a good thing.
Bay leaf, salt, and sour cream. Nice. Sounds really good.
Sweet.
I like
Sliced
that.
potatoes. What?
Philly girl.
Cooked noodles and stuff. On a lucky day, Fleischleibchen. Yes, you should always, like on lucky days, say serve potatoes with Fleischleibchen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Best family
they should be very
recipes
small
are
like
handed
this.
down, not written down. You know, Philly Girl 1000, I hear you on that.
Yeah.
I would argue, however,
You don't
that
drink as much as we do.
there are plenty of family cookbooks that are brilliant. And I have seen, you know, like you go to I love going to somebody's house or going to somebody's mom's house and then
Yes.
finding that place in the kitchen where the cookbook is and it's just filled with everything and notes and bits
Yeah.
and bobs.
Yeah.
And it becomes kind of like the Bible was in the 19th century, you know, where people had these family Bibles.
You can write your own bits in it.
And everything's written down. Exactly.
Mm.
And so I have an old Joy of Cooking book that I think even my mom may have given me when I left home to live on my own. And in
You
that,
wanted to make your life joyous.
yeah, and in that, like I had my buddy Jeff Gato, who's a wonderful cook, and he had his recipe for pizza sauce that is still stuck in there, and I'll
Yeah.
pull out every once in a while and make that.
My dad used to do that with maps. Like
Yeah.
he'd have an old map, and then when a new road got built somewhere, he wouldn't buy a new map that had that new road.
Right.
He'd take the old map and a pen and a ruler and said, so there's a new road here.
Get it in there.
Put it in his old map. You actually do that with C maps. Is you kind of update them.
Sure, and so I think having that testament, you know, that
Yeah.
physical thing is great. However, Philly Girl 1000, I totally agree that there are so many little recipes or tips and tricks that have stuck in my brain from the women in my life who were just wonderful cooks. My grandmother, my dad's mom, was an amazing cook, and my mom. I mean, she wasn't fancy, but dang, you know, she fed 4 children as a single mom on all kinds of stuff. I mean,
Potatoes
until-
and noodles
until we became
with the cooking
teenagers.
water in there.
Yeah, with the cooking water.
Yeah.
With the cooking water. So like my mom's, what the hell was it? My mom made an amazing cinnamon swirl bread. It was like a sweet loaf that had cinnamon swirled in it with buttery, yummy goodness. And oh man.
That kind of thing makes a pretty good rusk, actually. We've been making rusks from Christina's family's kind of cinnamon type swirly breads that we get sent for Easter and Christmas.
Yeah.
We just get too much to eat it all in one sitting, so we've taken to cutting it up into small bits and drying it.
Right.
And then, you know, so like a crunchy rusk.
Like a crunchy rusk.
Yeah.
Follower of Clay in the house. How you doing, buddy? Welcome back.
Yeah, we've already spoken about you, so
Yeah.
we had a whole long conversation about the Isbezi, you know.
Yeah, there's all kinds of nominations, and we'll try to go back and collate all of these
Hey,
nominations.
you can watch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Get a drink and watch it tomorrow.
But I think we should figure it out. I think that'd be nice to figure, you know, maybe we'll make a poll afterwards for next week. We'll collect all of these pitches.
I always thought you meant a totem pole. Like the Isbezi are right at the top.
The Isbezets
and the Isboozes are at the bottom.
And the slurpers.
The slurpers.
The slurpers are like off to the side just watching.
And someone's
slurpers
pointing to them.
Yeah, the slurpers. The slurpers are over here. The slurpers. I love it.
Okay, so
Your cousin was the slurper until tonight.
yes, that's true.
Awesome.
That's true.
Yeah.
Slurper. Slurpy slurps. Don't forget the slurpy slurp.
Yeah.
Cheers. Everybody, slurpy slurp at the same time. For those of you joining us for the first time, we always drink at the same time so that you don't have to hear us drinking through the microphone. So everybody grab your drink
At the same time.
and drink. Here we go. So I think we've been through a ton of recipes.
I think we did too.
I'm going to do this 3-day bean thing.
Yeah.
but I'm going to have Verena invite me
Yeah.
for her stuff. I'm not
Well,
gonna
she's
try
already
and-
offered to make both for the rap party.
Excellent. So when are you winning the lottery? When are you planning on doing that?
Yeah.
You can let us know by next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Handed down. But, I kind of got confused here with Philly Girl because the best old recipes are handed down, not written down.
Well,
But
I think what
like,
she means is learning
like
them in
oral,
the kitchen.
Like oral tradition?
Yeah. Like learning it in the
Okay,
kitchen.
but learning it in the kitchen is not hearing how it's done and then doing it. It's learning it in the kitchen.
But it's still handing down.
Yeah, no. You're right about that.
Yeah.
But you can hand down a collection. You can hand down that Bible of
But you can
recipes.
hand down knowledge, of course.
You can hand down knowledge,
Yes.
of course, yes. But I think we don't spend that much time in respective kitchens to have enough experience for that knowledge to actually be handed down.
Well, okay. I totally get it. But we're not going to
No,
argue
I get
about
it.
the semantics.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, but you didn't. It's not part of your experience. But I have seen it. Like my sister learned how to make cranberry sauce from my mom and from my grandmother,
Right.
and her cranberry sauce is amazing. I haven't had it in years because I haven't seen her in years, and I wish they would all come and visit me. And this is not a self-serving plea.
So
but
fucking win
I
the
love all of
lottery.
you. I'll win the lottery, and then you guys can
Yeah.
come. And that is definitely has been handed down.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sure. No,
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yeah.
It's just we're not all privy to that much time in the kitchen. Unfortunately, I wish I was. Yeah.
I think that has been a very good job. Thank you all very much for the recipes.
Follower of clay. Writing exists for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Take that, Philly Girl. Follower of clay. How's that mead coming along, mate? I can't wait. Talking about old family recipes. You kind of got to the party late because you could have spoken about making mead.
Yeah, you got a good mead recipe? Throw it in there.
Yeah.
Throw it in there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was chapter 2. We're going to take a quick break and talk.
Oh, who would have thunk? That was quick.
So fast.
Yeah.
So fast. So amazingly fast. Burp. What's going on, Michael? You
The
look
mead's
pensive.
going to be ready.
Yeah.
I don't know. We didn't get anybody's. No, we didn't actually. Follower of clay and those others who joined us late. What was your week like? Was there anything special, spectacular, or good in your week? Let us know in the chat.
Sure.
Maybe we can go back to that. Should we move on to chapter 3?
Not yet. I want to know, is there anything we need to make a commercial for? Anything coming up that people might want to join in on besides the next ISBES? You got anything happening coming up in this week?
No.
Me either.
No. I have a concert on the 10th of June. And I hope it's going to be a public concert, like an open house concert.
Well, we'll see. We do have a rehearsal coming up on Saturday. We're working on a new show.
Isn't that
with the
rehearsal
English
tomorrow?
Lovers. I mean tomorrow. We're working on a new show with the English Lovers.
It's called...
Picture This is the
Yes.
working title. Picture This, a radio play. Yeah, but I've also got nothing coming up. No public performances. All right, that's it for the commercial section. We're now going to come to chapter 3.
Maybe you guys have got something coming up.
Yeah,
Post
maybe
it in
they
the
do.
chat.
That's a good idea. Anybody got something they want to promote? Let us know.
Yep.
In the meantime, this is chapter 3.
Pets.
Pets.
Part
Pets,
2.
Pets, part 2.
So it's pets.
Pets, Pets. Pets, Pets 2. Your best pet stories.
Yeah. So we've already done part 1 on pets.
Yeah.
And we decided to do a second one because there was so much going on with the whole pet thing that it seemed like we should revisit.
Yeah. Michael is a big fan of revisiting, and so we are. And
Yeah, because
now
I'm never done with things. I have to keep coming back.
he's got to keep coming back
Yeah,
to
and you
it.
just poke that thing.
Yeah.
Poke that thing till I'm done. Get all the meat off that bone.
Oh, man. Sometimes you just have to take the fork and knife away from him.
The plate.
The whole thing.
I'll lick it.
So we wanted to talk about favorite pet stories, and you had a favorite pet story. But before we get to that, we're throwing it out to you guys. What is a favorite pet story that you have? about your pet, somebody else's pet, your favorite pet story.
I didn't realize it could actually mean somebody else's pet. My
Well, it's a
favorite
pet story.
about somebody else's pet.
Whatever pet story that is. I just
And
try to open up possibilities, Michael.
Yeah.
You know, you think of it one way, somebody else thinks of it another way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember saying that I have a pet story I could tell.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten it now.
See?
I had
This
all
is
that
how it
body.
goes.
Now I can't remember. Follower of Clay has a cat that snorts
Yeah.
when she judges. Yeah. Pets are like that.
So I've got a pet story I could tell you. Did I
Cool.
ever tell you about the pet I had for a little while, Nigel, my pet cat?
Nigel, my pet human.
I had a pet cat named Nigel, and it was a beautiful, hot summer night, and I drove that 1969 blue Volkswagen Beetle that I owned into the parking lot of the 7-Eleven so I could run inside and grab something. The windows were down. When I came back out, this orange tabby cat was sitting in the driver's seat. And I opened up the door and I'm like, okay, come on, hop out. And he just didn't want to get out. And I'm like, come along. And he just did not want to get out. And I was like, looking around. And then he gets into the back seat. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going to ride with him. So I start driving away. And he hops into my lap and puts his two paws up onto the steering wheel and sort of looks out while I'm driving. And
This is like Hollywood movie.
yeah. And he was like he felt like a co-pilot. And so I called him Nigel Crothers. And I would often do his voice. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. I'm Nigel
Welcome
Crothers.
to Jim Airlines.
We'll
be flying
I'm your
off the road.
co-pilot, Nigel Crothers. We'll be cruising at 35,000 feet. And so Nigel stuck with me. And then Nigel was very much like a dog. Like I would drive somewhere. I would get out. I would like go to a friend's house. He would jump out, run away. I would go and visit with my friends, get back to the car. I'd be like, Nigel, open the door. And
He'd go and visit with the local ladies, I guess.
come tumbling in, get back into the car and go. And Nigel stuck with me for, I don't know, not quite a year. And then one day he disappeared and never came back.
Right. Who did you get the VW Beetle from?
I bought that VW Beetle from a dude. It was like
Maybe
a
it was the
driveway
dude's
sale.
cat. Or maybe it was the cat knew the VW Beetle.
Right. I kind of like the way that Nigel left my life, the way he came into it. There was something poetic about that rhyme of beginning and end. And I remember Nigel had really big, hairy balls. And the reason I remember it was because at the beginning, I thought Nigel was a girl until somebody pointed out the big, hairy balls.
The orange cats are very rarely girls.
Oh,
in the
really?
first place.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
So the female of the orange cats is the tortoiseshell. So you never get a male tortoiseshell. That never happens.
Interesting.
But you do occasionally get a female orange marmalade cat.
Okay.
But rarely they're female. We had a female orange cat we called a she-male. But orange cats are mostly males.
Right. I got another pet story.
It's a gene thing, which is like what Pavlov was talking about. You got some lab mice that had the wrong genotype, and you would have had to kill them, so you rehomed them. I like the I like the word rehoming. It's like rezoning.
Did you rehome them into the belly of a boa constrictor?
Does that count as rehoming?
It's the circle of life.
Pavlov's a very interesting person. I wonder how many animals Pavlov has at home.
I think Pavlov's dog has told us before that they live with a bunch of animals. So one night, after drinking and dancing in Boston, I go to an after party at this bartender's house. And it was a really big apartment, and I'm sure this dude was a drug dealer as well, because I mean, he was living high and hard. And I remember at one point, he was like, "Oh, you guys want to see something really cool?"
It's a pit bull.
And
or a tiger.
No, he turns out the lights, and there's black lights everywhere. And then he goes over to a bag, and he had like, what are they called? Sugar gliders? It's like a little flying chipmunk, like a flying squirrel kind of an animal. And you would hear like, scrabble, 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 and then you would hear like, fish, silence. And then you hear, where it would like jump from plant to plant in this huge apartment that was just like a jungle. I mean,
like an atrium kind of thing.
It was a big, amazing place.
Right.
And yeah, he had a flying squirrel as a pet, and I thought that was crazy. And I thought if I had, it must have been a great way to get chicks, because animals.
Except for the drugs as well. I think it's a great way to get chicks too.
Yeah. Animals and drugs are a great way to get chicks. I had a job when I lived in Key West. I sold golden retriever puppies.
I think I've heard this actually.
Where I had them like in a mess. I would take 2 of them around in a messenger bag, and I would tell, and it was like a chick magnet. Oh man, that's just one of the best living accessories you can have.
Puppy, yeah.
A puppy. A baby is also good as long as you're the uncle. Being the uncle for a kid is also good.
Being the dad's not so practical, you mean?
No. No.
Yeah.
But if once they find out you're the uncle, it's good stuff.
Yeah, you got to watch out that you don't reach that age limit. At some point, it's no bueno going around as the uncle anymore with a kid. You know? Know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? I think it starts to look weird.
It starts to look weird at some point.
Can't be an uncle anymore?
You can't be an uncle anymore.
Okay. You hear that,
Like you
nephews?
can't be a public uncle anymore.
You hear that, niece?
You can't.
Apparently I'm too old to be your uncle anymore. Not that I was ever a really good one to begin with.
My God.
But
look, I'm having so
apparently
much
I'm done.
fun that I've got these. I'm totally sweating. Look,
You are sweating.
we turn the heat up in this place because he is always cold.
You work hard for the honey.
I work hard for the honey.
So, have you remembered your favorite pet story now?
No.
That's okay. Because we've got plenty of them
I
here.
had one.
I like Marcus's story.
Yeah.
Used to lay next to him, my dog, when he slept. Oh, that was the best.
Have you ever tried this? Like you lying next to your carnivorous pet, and you hold a piece of meat
While they're sleeping?
While they're sleeping under their nose. See how long it takes them to realize that there's good food right there.
You can do that with me too. You put something good under my nose while I'm asleep. Oh man, I'm up. My sister
that rolled up luncheon meat.
My sister Kaki, when she was a little girl, she was afraid of everything. She was a very skittish kid.
What's the most ridiculous thing she was afraid of?
Mosquitoes, flies, bees. I mean, bees I understand, but like she would just freak out at things. She was quite skittish.
So she's scared of spiders as well.
Oh yeah. And any animals, chipmunks,
creepy crawlies.
Animals. Not just creepy crawlies. Any like dogs, cats. She was
okay.
And then we got a rescue. My dad helped to rescue a Irish setter, which was my first pet. Kelly. Her name was Killarney. But we called her Kelly for short. And she was this Killarney. And she was this big, beautiful Irish setter. But Kaki would sleep like Marcus with that dog. She would just crawl up, and that was the most trusted being in her life for a long time.
I think animals kind of take up those spaces if you give them the opportunity. Like especially dogs, I think, are very adept at figuring out situations like that.
Yeah. There seems to be an.
They like suss you out, and then they're like, "What's going on here? Let's and feed me."
Yeah. There's always that.
And feeding a pet is really satisfying as well. It's like seeing how much they enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
Here comes your plate of slop. Like the tail going like this.
Who was it that we know? Is it the Causalus that have pet stick insects?
Yes. I watched Bridget Jones' Diary for the first time last night.
Okay.
And there's this one moment when she says, "I'm leaving that man and his American stick insect." Because the girlfriend he's got is so skinny that she's an American stick insect.
Right, but they have pet stick
They did.
insects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're kind of walking around the apartment.
Yeah.
Tricolored cats are always female. Yes, this is correct. Our cat has her own temple. Do you worship her?
She likes to think so.
Yeah. And what are your offerings? What offerings do you have to bring?
I remember my grandma had a dog when I was a kid. She died while I was alive, so I remember her dying. Lizzie was the name of the dog. And as Lizzie got older, and she was quite old, I remember, when she died. But apparently when dogs get older, they start to lose their smell.
Their sense of smell.
Their sense of smell.
Because they gain a lot of smell. The older they get,
They
the
gain
more
a lot of smell, that's
they
true.
get.
But they start to lose their sense of smell.
That's probably
And-
why they gain smell, because they can't smell themselves anymore.
Right. And so my grandma had to start feeding her cat food. Because cat food, from the get-go, apparently has a much stronger smell than dog food.
Really?
Because cats don't have nearly as strong a sense of smell as dogs. And so to entice the cat, they make it smell more. And to
Really?
entice Lizzie, she got her cat food.
That's interesting. Because every documentary I see about cats, they're always on about how well the cat can smell. It's like the hearing and the smell is the two main things about the cats. They can see really well, but they can hear and smell better than they can see. But maybe dogs smell even better.
I think they do. I mean, they've got dogs now. Have you read about this where they're training dogs to sniff out COVID with like a 98%?
Yeah,
rate
but
of success.
this has been used in Chinese medicine for a long time.
They've
those
trained
breath-smelling dogs that can tell whether you've got
Cancer.
apparently whether you've got certain types of cancer and stuff.
Absolutely.
But I was reading today that you think dogs have a good sense of smell. Pigs have twice the sense of smell that dogs have.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Pigs are also really yummy. I've never eaten dog. Have you ever eaten dog?
Not consciously.
Would you eat dog?
Sure, fuck yeah. I'm an
Would you eat
animal
rat?
lover because they taste so good. I would eat rat.
Would you eat bear?
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Eat them all.
I would eat them all.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I probably would too.
As is my birthright.
As a human being?
As a human being.
Yeah.
On top, as the apex predator.
Yeah.
Now, would I go out and kill all those things to eat them?
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot of work. But
It probably is, yeah.
I'd eat it. Do you remember that there was this wonderful movie with Matthew Broderick, where it was it was a very weird movie where the whole thing was there was a society of people that would get exotic animals.
Oh, yes.
To eat them. And it was very low key.
But they had a
Komodo dragon.
Komodo dragon.
Yeah, yes, you know the
And
movie.
the guy came out and sang a song about, you're going to eat this Komodo dragon. It was like an Italian restaurant. Because it had Marlon Brando in it. He was this old...
But what was that movie? I feel like it's like a super sleeper movie. I haven't thought about it in years.
Yeah.
Until just now.
Foal steak. Oh, yes. Yes. You should never cross-feed dogs with cat food and the other way around, since they different amino acids.
Interesting.
Look,
maybe
Pavlov, this dog was
killed
already on its way out. You know, it was mercy.
Maybe that's what killed Lizzie at the end.
That's what eventually killed Lizzie. Lizzie was already old and dying.
Lizzie was so old, and she had started to lose her eyesight. She really just kind of plodded along, got that scruffiness, but she was so sweet and stinky.
One of my girlfriend's moms had this old dog called Felix.
Have you noticed that almost all of the pets so far have people names?
Oh, no.
Felix, Nigel, Lizzie. Lizzie was Elizabeth.
Right. And Felix had like really old joints. I think he was 16 or 17 at this point, right? And so he'd get a quarter of an aspirin. And when he was feeling his joints, he'd come up and kind of nudge you, and it's like, it's time for my aspirin, Mom. And then she'd give him a quarter of an aspirin, and then he'd go and lie in his dog hamper again.
Right. Yeah.
He got into a fight once.
I need my stuff, man.
Yeah. Come on, lady.
It's time for my afternoon.
I'm feeling stiff.
Constitutional.
He got into a fight, and there was a hole in his ear, and the vet sewed him up with a button. Like, he put a button on the side of the ear and sewed it up like that. So he walked around for like 2 weeks with this button on his ear. It was endearing.
I had friends that had 2 horses, and I used to love when it was time for the horses to come from the stable, from the run down to the stable, and they would just run it on their own. They would just go in. I remember one time, it had been my job to open up the stable door, because when they get let out, they just run down and go into their thing, and I forgot to do it, and I had to run down in front of them. Trying to run in front of 2 horses that are trying to get inside sucks.
Yeah.
But I did it. And then one of those 2 horses died. And she had gotten sick, and it was time for her to go. And the vet came. And they had to, before it was time, they brought in a backhoe to dig a grave for the horse, to put it inside this thing right there in the thing. And I remember the day, because I was there for my friend, because she was losing this horse. But I'll never forget the sound that the other horse made. Almost, like really at the moment when that horse was put to sleep, and they led her down into the hole and then gave her the injection. And that other horse made a sound. Wow.
Yeah, they are sentient.
Absolutely,
as sentient as we are. Yeah.
And just the grief and the loss that horse, of its friend, lifelong, they've grown up together, these 2 horses.
Yeah,
I can imagine. It was just.
Did you see that? Verena said she had a horse for 28 years.
What?
Yeah. I used to have a horse for 28 years. So I think that horse was
That's an
pretty
old
old
right?
horse.
I'd imagine. It feels like an old horse.
Yeah.
Big
Wow,
stories,
that's. I think that must be really tough if you've got an animal that you're close to for 28 years. I mean, I bawled my eyes out when I lost a pet.
Yeah.
Didn't actually matter.
When Greti and Marie, who were the 2 cats that I shared with Valerie, and they both got to 20. Well, one got to 19 and one got to 20.
Yeah, that's very old for a cat.
That's super old for a cat.
But they were missing eyes and other bits and stuff by the end, weren't they? Like, I'm sure Valerie said that they had to have one eye removed because she got stuck in a...
and had a snaggle tooth.
Yeah. Oh, I remember my story.
Yeah.
So this is not necessarily a particularly fun pet story, but it's a really good story about how you experience pets.
Okay.
So
don't tell me how to listen to your story.
When I was... Let me tell the story first. So when I was about 4, we lived in the Eastern Transvaal, and we had a house with a fence, like a wire fence to the neighbors. And we had these 2 dogs, Volley and Medi. And Medi used to go running around the neighborhood. And one afternoon, I'm outside in the back garden, and I hear this howling. And Medi has jumped the fence from the neighbors back into our plot. She's got stuck on the top of the fence.
Oh, shit.
And the fence had these wire spikes like this, right?
Yeah.
So the spike's gone through her belly.
Oh, no.
And she's stuck, and she can't go one way and she can't go the other way, and she's kind of howling, right? So I call my mom, the dog's stuck on the fence. Now, my memory of this is the fence is this high, and the dog's up there, and my mom's doing this to get the dog off. And then I found a photograph of that backyard a couple of years ago. Interestingly enough, the dog is in the photo as well. And I was doing a photo album for my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, and it's the dog and the fences in the background, and you can see the fence is only so high. But because I was 4 years old, it was a huge high fence, right?
Yeah. Of course it was.
And I always remember, and like even now when I remember it from the perspective of the dogs up there on the fence.
Yeah.
Memory's
weird. Oh, but was she okay then?
Oh yeah.
And it punctured her belly and stuff?
We had to take her to the vet, but she lived. She lived long enough to get run over about a year later. Well, because she was always out running around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
She got flat.
There's a great play. What's it called? Sea Rise with Sharks. And there's this wonderful monologue in it about a young girl. It's a woman who's explaining about why she wants to have an abortion. Mm-hmm. She's talking about how when she was growing up and that she had these parents that would constantly give her pets. But they lived next to a very busy road, and these pets were constantly dying.
Right.
And it's a beautiful monologue. I got to find that. I'll send it to you. It's great for students. It's a great monologue.
Cool.
But yeah, when you're in one of those places where, like, I think Nigel probably got eaten by something bigger than him.
Yeah.
Is my guess, because I lived, in the woods.
Yeah. There's this place near Cape Town where you can, they kind of built new condos in this nature reserve.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive and it's very special, and you're close to the beach, but you're right in the Fynbos and it's beautiful.
Right. But you're
right in the nature reserve. So now rich people move out to this great nature reserve to live in this exclusive area, but now they're complaining that their cats are getting eaten by the servals because that's serval country.
Exactly.
And servals are this big and they'll eat anything.
Of course.
Right?
Or like the dogs getting eaten on the golf course because the crocodile is just snapping them up.
Yeah.
God.
The horse died. He fell asleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had him put down. Yeah, but frankly, I was talking to my cousin last year about having pets put down because she had an old dog with bad sense of smell and bad smell.
Yeah.
And creaky bones, can't really move, in pain all the time. And I'm all for putting your pets down. I think there's a point where it's just better. I think there's a point in your life as well where you would want that. Like, I know that I don't want to keep going if it's all pain.
I think we need to make that a chapter. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
talk about that. Andrew, I had why do all these bears keep coming around? I mean, I just live in Bear Creek, under Bear Mountain, down in Bear Valley.
So what's your best bear story?
No bear stories, because ladies and gentlemen,
No, I
friends and neighbors and everybody
have a
in
bear
between-
story to tell before we go
I
there.
hate him so much sometimes. Okay, we're this close.
Yeah.
Go for it.
My cousin lives near Vancouver, and it's bear country. Mm-hmm. And her neighbors have a jacuzzi. And so they're in the jacuzzi, and the bear walks out of the forest, and they had to stay in the jacuzzi for hours because they were scared to get out and go to the house. And then she's got a video of probably the same bear rooting through her garage. Like, she filmed it from the front door, and the bear's like checking out all this stuff, and yeah, great. Okay.
Oh no, I've got one.
That's my story.
Too.
You got one.
They're not pets.
I hate him.
Yeah, no.
It's the worst.
We're going to come back next week. It's going to be Thursday. It's going to be at 8:30, and it's going to be about something.
It's going to be number 42.
That's right.
So all you Isbazees and Isbazettes and Isboozers and Slurpers.
Before we go, let's do it. We're going to thank everybody that was in the chat. Andrew and Verena and Follower of Clay and Pavlov's dog and Machado.
Vike and Machado and Marcus.
And Marcus.
And Philly Girl.
And Philly Girl 1000. And Moko.
And 7 pounds one.
Vika and 7 Pounds 1. And did we get Moko?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Machado.
I think we've got everybody.
We got everybody. If we didn't get you, we'll try to get you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you all so very much for joining us.
It's been a fun night. Give us a thumbs up.
I think
subscribe to the channel.
I think this has been the best Is Baz ever.
Yeah, you know, if follower of Clay writes to me tomorrow and says this wasn't the best Is Baz of all time, we're gonna have a fight.
I don't think we should have a fight. I think we should have a hug.
Yeah, bring it in.
Yeah. Wait.
So if you're still there, we've got to say goodnight. We were so eager to hug.
Hey everybody, thank you very much. Good night. That's Michael Smolik.
That's Jim Libby.
This has been It Should Be About Something, and it was.
And it has been.
It's like it's like an after credits scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we should find out a way. We should find a way to do that.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye. Bye.